Okay, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Matt with Green Bar Trading here. Just going live here for a little bit before the market opens. So I'm going to wait a minute until some more people come on in here. And yeah, and then we'll go from there. Going to go over a couple of things that I'm seeing in the pre-market, a couple of things that I'm seeing on the charts, and how the day is starting to set up, because it does look like a pretty bullish start to the day. Now, anything can happen during the regular session, obviously, but things are setting up nicely. The bond yields, the VIX, the dollar. So everything is looking pretty good for possibly a little bit of a rally, which would be nice. So what we saw yesterday, actually, looking at the earnings for Nike and FedEx, these were very, very, very good earnings reports. Now, the sentiment going in, because Nike and FedEx, they have already scared the market the last time with global recession fears from FedEx. Nike was dealing with a whole bunch of issues. So it was good to see that they beat on their earnings and their guidance wasn't as bad as expected. Now, I do expect, once earnings season starts in January, that is going to be a huge catalyst for the market. All right. So right now, we don't have to worry about that, but what we saw from Nike and FedEx, that's a good thing. So very, very positive on that. Now you can see here on the screen, the bond yields. This is something that I look at every morning, and they're pulling back a lot. All right. The bond yields are dropping, which means that the bonds themselves are being bought because they work in the opposite way to each other. So, when the yields are down like this, sometimes you can see tech have a better day. So that would be nice. What I'm currently in is Apple. I went in yesterday, and I'll show you guys on the charts. But I went in yesterday. I set alerts, and that's something I'm going to do this year coming up a lot more. I'm going to set alerts at key levels, at demand zones, at supply zones. I'm going to set those alerts. And then when I get alerted that the price is there, then I could go in and make my moves. Because if I'm constantly trying to trade in the middle of ranges, it's very, very tough. So I want to enter at support or sell at resistance, things like that. So I'm going to set alerts. I did that on Apple, like I said, got basically the bottom, really nice supply zone, and I'm sorry, really nice demand zone down there at the 130s, and saw a little bit of a bounce. I don't know how much it's going to continue, but I'll show you what I'm looking at and where I plan to possibly start to take some profit. And then, yeah, we'll just go from there on the SPY and the Qs. We'll go over that stuff too. All right, so let's take a look here. And we should just start with the SPY. So yesterday, you can see we held up this 380 level. That was a pretty good hold. And, something very interesting here is I use the 20 EMA and the 50 moving average and the 200 moving average. With the 20 EMA, that's this blue line here, and when the 50, right, when these two converge, it's very interesting how this trading year has been very predictable. Once this blue line, the 20 EMA, once it crosses over the 50, and I'm looking at this spot right here, you can see a rally, right? Same thing happened back here, right here at the beginning of November. The blue line crosses over the 50 moving average, and we see a little bit of a rally. These rallies were pretty good, not too bad. And also on the other end, right, when this blue line, and we could go back to the beginning of the year, when the blue line crosses under the 50, we see a sell off. All right, when the blue line crosses under, sell off. Same thing right here. It crosses under, you see a sell off. So what's happening now? And it's very similar to this area right here. All right, you can see the gap here between the 20 and the 50. You can see the gap here. That wasn't a very good oval, but you can see the gap here is very similar in the formation here. You had a rally in the summer, we had a rally from October, and now it looks like this blue line wants to cross eventually back under the 50 moving average. And if that happens, that doesn't mean that we can't see a bounce here, you know, up to this 20 EMA possibly. This 390 area is definitely a spot where there's overhead supply and there should be resistance, but I could see a little bit of a bounce happening, you know, in the next couple days. And that's not going to deter the trajectory here of this 20 EMA and the 50 moving average. It looks like these are going to get ready to eventually cross over. You can see here as the 20 was coming down, this is where we are right now, right? Right now, this trading day right now is where we are here. And we still saw a nice 4-day bounce, right, from the lows. Very similar looking chart. Very similar looking chart. And then seeing a little bit of a bounce. And that can happen, and then the 20 can cross back over, and then you can see some more downside, possibly in early January, maybe even at the end of December, which is typically a good week to trade, but we will just have to see. I just look at patterns, right? These patterns are what gives me the, you know, where I can see us going possibly. Now, nobody can tell, nobody can call the market. That's impossible. But what we can do is we can use this technical analysis and technology to give us a better feel for it. And that's where we're at right now. So what I can see now on the SPY is I can see if we hold this level, this 386.45 where the 50 is, that could be our first spot to see a little bit of resistance, and then also this 390 area. So it's not going to be easy, but I do think that we can possibly trend towards that 390 area, you know, pretty soon. So that's what I'm looking at. The RSI, very oversold, pretty much very similar to this spot here that I'm talking about, almost to the penny, the same exact look. And we saw that RSI, I'll just make this a little bigger, right here. This is that spot that I'm talking about. This is where we are right now. All right, and you can see here, we saw some strength. After selling off, maybe we can see some strength. All right, so that's what we're looking at right now on the SPY. And the SPY is the overall market. So if this is going to go up, most likely the Qs are going to go up also. We can still look at the Qs right now. Looks the same to me. Nice volume day yesterday. So when we had more volume than the day before on the selling day, and yesterday was a buying day, that's a good sign for the potential to see a reversal. RSI low, as it has been for a while, but this consolidation right here is very similar to the SPY. So I can see a move, but anything more than getting through this thick supply here is probably not going to happen. At least not after we just broke down, and this is only 4 days breaking out of this consolidation. To then think we're going to slice right through this is just not going to happen. So I do see maybe a move up to these averages here, and then we'll have to just go from there. All right, so we're currently about 30, 31 minutes to the bell. If anybody has any questions or anything you want me to look at, just let me know. I will go over a really nice trade that we had here on Moderna. Now this, I made a video yesterday. Very clear area here. This 188, extremely clear area of resistance, broke through it, retested it perfectly right here. Absolutely perfect retest and got a really nice bounce. And now we're all the way at 205 in the pre-market. Now, if you watched my video yesterday, I sold way too early on this candle. It hurts. I left a lot of money on the table, so it is what it is. But this was a really, really nice retest. So 188 is a good level there for Moderna. Now, what did I see on Apple? This is what I see on Apple. Very clear here where there could be some support. So what I did was I set an alert. If this went under 131, it would trigger my alert. I got alerted to it. It was in the 130s. I got into call options down here. So I'm already in the green by a decent amount. This is very similar also to this area here. Now, what we saw here was a very big move out of this. So what I'm going to be looking for, and I took, I have about 3 weeks left on the options. So I'm going to let this try to make a move here. If we can break this 135, which has been, kind of that support, now it should act as resistance. If we can break through 135, I could see us going up to this 20 EMA, which is around 140. I can see that definitely happening, maybe even getting to that 50 moving average in the next 3 weeks, right before earnings season starts up. So, that's what we're looking at right now. Very happy with that position with Apple. And I'm going to try to let that one work a little better than I did with Moderna, because this is back to demand right here. So we'll see what happens. And something I also like is it's very oversold. All right. So there's definitely room for Apple to get a little bit of an RSI bounce as well. So going to be watching that one. Tesla has been a nightmare. What do I think, hey, Christian? What do I think of Nike? I mean, like I said at the beginning, they had great earnings, and it's just gapping up a lot. It's gapping up a lot into a market that's not really great at dealing with gap ups. All right, so let's look at this so we can see where the candle is today. All right, so this is the last 180. So you have here this top here, basically resistance coming up into it at 118. It's good earnings. I just don't know if it's enough to hold the stock up. How much is this up percentage-wise? It's up over 12. It's up a good percent. Usually those percent gains, they can last a little bit. If it was up maybe 5-6%, sometimes those don't hold on as much, but this is up a lot. But you got to realize it's up a lot on lower volume, right? Because the earnings came out after hours. So if people want to sell, if investors want to sell, it would be nice if they can sell back here where it was in the summer. All right, especially if they sat through this entire time here. This would be a great time for those investors to get out break even. So I just don't know if Nike is going to hold up these gains. It would help if the overall market, if we continue to see that bounce. Looks like the RSI at the moment is just about overbought. I mean, obviously it's up 12%. I don't really care about that, the RSI on the 180. But yeah, I mean, that's just what I'm thinking. Nice move after hours, on very light volume. Nike currently has 1 million shares traded. All right, they're going to do way more than that today. So you just got to hope there's more buyers and sellers. But if you're looking to, fade it, that's possible too. Just watch what it does intraday. Oh, I set an alert this morning, guys, for XLE. See, I set an alert here. This is resistance, right? So it broke down. We called this trade perfect. That was a very nice trade. Got the bounce back, the retest at this level. When it does this, it tends to revisit this again. So I set an alert. If it goes over this level right here, I might be looking to take it short. Now, it's up a lot in the pre-market. Oil is up a lot. So this is going to catch a little bit of a bid into the open. And then I might look, let's see, it's almost at the alert. I might look to get into puts at some point here around 87. And then you have this going on here. Got the crossover. I mean, it's looking bearish to me. So that's what I'm looking at today is XLE, possibly to get short into this strength here. Let's see what oil is right now. Oil up to 78. No. Apple, basically to the penny, hit the same spot it did back here over the summer before an epic, epic rally. Not expecting this same rally to happen, but that would be nice. But I'm definitely expecting a little bit of a bounce. There is resistance here, though, at the 134.63, right around here. So I'm going to have to watch that. Even if I sold at that, I would still have a very nice profit. So I'm going to watch that level today pretty closely if we see a bounce here in the market. It's got to get, the Q's got to get over this 272. And then if it does, you got 280. 280 should definitely be seen here. That's 10 points up from here on the Qs. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes to the bell. I think I'm gonna stop the stream right now. But if you are gonna trade, trade smart, trade safe, and I'll see you back